Hello and welcome to a Dawn of War 2 cast featuring Fufu Hunter once again in Caldaris Desert. I feel like we're getting Caldaris Desert all the time these days. Fufu Hunter is going to be playing as a commando nob. Sneaky little git. Rocking double sluggers straight away here, nice to see. I think this is the best hero to do the double slugger build with, because he's got higher DPS than the mech boy. And honestly, he can't support his melee that great. So you kind of need more melee in order to be able to use melee functionally. And honestly, against Space Marines, I can see the allure. Trying to shoot these tanky boys can be tough, man, with the heavy infantry armor, as we're about to see. So this is the highest DPS orc hero that you have, and basically the highest DPS ranged hero by default, on par with the Tech Marine. And you can see it just doesn't do anything to the Tactical Marines. They shrug it off with ease. So it's a tricky one. So he's going to be rocking the double sluggers, but the downside of this is he's going to be up against a well-timed Poot who is rocking the Force Commander. So the problem there is that the Force Commander generally seen as a pretty good fella in order to counter melee. You can debate it, certainly in the early game with his battle cry. At least you're not going to be able to just charge down the Force Commander with your sluggers like you might be able to do to a Tech Marine. So we'll see how Fufu can adapt to this. Wow, I'm getting a little bit of lag. That's weird. Why am I getting lag? Whoa. Very weird. Let's just pan around a bit. And hopefully that resolves it. Very strange. I don't normally get lag. Yeah, I don't know what that was. My CPU and such are fine. Anyway, pretty conventional build so far from Poot, who is going for his first generator now. Let's look at the timings. Okay, he's getting an upgrade. Shotgun scouts are coming out here, so he is going to be delaying his next unit. Now, Fufu has a couple of options here. He could go for a looter, which actually would be quite decent because it counters the Force Commander, and it adds more range to your build with only one shooter boy. I think if he's seen double shotgun scouts, the looter would be kind of a no-brainer. But the downside to rushing a looter would be that shortly after the looter has maybe its first engagement, certainly after the second engagement, the Space Marine is going to get an ASM squad out. And now your looter is quite countered. But of course, Fufu has two slugger boys to counter-initiate said looter. However, if he blobs the looter and the sluggers, he's going to only have one shooter to contest the sides against potentially two scouts, which would be difficult. But he could use his commando nob to support that. The commando nob in this matchup really is most ideal, especially in tier 1, in dealing with the scouts. Now, if there is too much pressure from the ASM, which we do see building right now, we could see the commando nob pick up his knife. It's very high DPS. I believe it's around 70 DPS, which is insane for a melee weapon in tier 1. However, it doesn't have any special attacks, but it gives you a couple of abilities. You can snipe. Oh, this is not good, blobbing up for the shotgun blast. Yeah, that's pretty sloppy there. However, with the Storm Boys intervening and only one shotgun around, and a flank from the commando nob, that is going to be a very easy victory there for Fufu, and is going to force off most of the army of Poot. But he's not really going to be able to capitalize on it, because that was a fight that happened at his gen farm, not Poot's gen farm, so Poot will be back on the field if he was to attempt any sort of gen bash, so he won't. So if Fufu does go for the knife, it would give him the tripper shot ability, which allows him to target a single model and stun it. This is really good for the Force Commander, because you can see him using Battle Cry right now, constantly knocking things over, and he's immune to knockback while he's doing that. Oh wow, what a bait. He was trying to bait in the Storm Boys, which he was knocking over with the ASM, but he just got wrecked by the Commander Nob's gun. So, oh my god. Oh wow, what a bold jump from Fufu, jumping right into the rest of the army. I mean, it was a delayed jump from the start. I presume he'd used that jump to try and dodge the knockback from the ASM, but it was too late, and he actually had a lot of models knocked over beforehand. And then I don't know if there was some sort of delay in the jumping. Well, either way, he got his shit shot to pieces by the scouts and the tanks, and that is going to be a lost Stormboy squad. Not great for Fufu, but at least he did manage to kill the Force Commander of Poot, so he's not tremendously far behind. If he didn't kill the Force Commander of Poot, Fast Razorback in this instance could very well be GG. But Poot has replaced him, and Fufu has decided, you know what, Stormboys, maybe not the best idea. I'm going to go for a pain boy instead. So we'll see how that does. We're going to shoot a knob on the shooters, no big shooters yet. If we got double burners, we do. Not only is that useful for the garrisons, but you've got to remember, the burners themselves do power melee damage, so that's 30% more damage to Tactical Space Marines and ASM. And they also increase the HP of everyone in the squad. Well, not the burners, but the upgrade for the burners increases the HP of all the sluggers by 20%, which is a huge increase. So they go up to 720 maximum HP instead of 600. So a really good upgrade. Honestly, if you're going to be playing sluggers, you need to get the burners quite quickly. If you're going to be relying on these in combat, you want burners. It's kind of like the toxin stacks on termagants for the Tyranids. It's just such a massive cost-effective upgrade that, yeah, if you're going to be using them in combat and not just for capping, you want to get those upgrades ASAP. So looking at the respective economies right now, Poot is actually floating ever so slightly. Fufu is significantly far behind, both in rec and power, but particularly power. I imagine he built his gens quite a bit later than Poot. This is not really a great position for the ASM. Getting attacked by sluggers with their power melee burners and the pain boy. And now the scouts are messing up. They're moving in way too close. They do get their shotgun blast off, but it wasn't an ideal one. And do they manage to kill an ASM model? They do. The Force Commander is in there trying to disrupt, but the sluggers are too fast. The Force Commander is very good at attacking immobile targets that are trying to attack him, but his default chainsaw specials do not track. So he's not very good at units that are moving around very quickly, and it looks like Wa was used there by the Orcs as well, so that means they get extra damage and extra speed, so they were whizzing around the Space Marines there, chopping them up. Don't know if he managed to kill a Tactical Marine, he did indeed. So one of the attacks goes down, now we've got double burners on the Gen Farm. This is a really good amount of pressure from Fufu, who probably... No, he's not flowing. Wow, he's got a lot more requisition than he has power. Scouts caught on retreat path here. Burners actually doing some nice damage to the soft retreating scouts. They didn't want to hard retreat because they would have ran through the sluggers, and that would have been a guaranteed death for them, but they die nonetheless. Pain Boy putting in some work right now. Look at this. You love to see it. Honestly, I feel like the double sluggers right now should turn around and fight these ASM. With a Pain Boy there to support, getting a special attack on the Tactical Space Marines, this is a really good engagement for Fufu. Another Tactical Space Marine is killed. Will the Slugger Boys get out? No, they don't. The Slugger Boys wipe. The Force Commander was there. I didn't actually see him because of the glitch in the fucking replay system, where if he dies, you don't see him, his UI. In-game, Fufu can see that UI, and that was probably contributing quite a lot to helping out Poot in that situation. I noticed the ASM had quite a lot of damage output, and they had the damage circles, so must have got buffed up quite a bit. So that's a shame. It is actually kind of rebalancing the game a bit, but still, Poot incurred a lot of bleed there, and it's delaying his Tier 2 purchase, which is very important because Poot did get to Tier 2 earlier. And you'll notice that Poot came out of the base over here with his Tactical Marines remaining at 2 models. That was probably because he was aware that he had the power, but lacked the requisition to build his Razorback. Now, the Razorback has been delayed quite a bit, and due to that, by the time it gets out, Fufu will actually be Tier 2. So the timing window of basically having the Razorback running around doing whatever the hell it wants, including ferrying Tactical Marines to then bash the gens, it's kind of gone at this point. That's good for Fufu. It's going to keep him in the game. He has a VP lead as well, so yeah, this could go on for quite some time so far. Now the Commander Knob himself, his default kit is going to be a lot less effective as the game goes on. The actual Space Marine fully initiated units, the ASM, the Tactical Marines, they're just too tanky. The custom shooter is not going to do much to them. You can still benefit from hunting the scouts, but you know, one of the scouts is dead, so I'd like to see some upgrades coming down on him. Keep him relevant. The shotgun's a funny one. It can do a lot of knockback, which actually I feel like makes it more relevant, especially in dealing with these ASM. Even though the actual basic attacks from the shotgun are trash. We'll see. Big shooters are now out on the shooter boys. You see the Tactical Marines are in that soft cover here. So they will win this fight probably. They're just so much more durable to piercing damage than the shooter boys, but they don't want the fight. They're trying to gen bash. They're not going to be able to. Not yet, anyway. Here we go. We've got the special shoot coming out now. This could be a nice ability usage. Let's see. You see the passive knockback coming out. You see, the passive knockback's really lovely because it just knocks the enemy out of cover, so then your shooters can do a lot more damage. It's always effective. But also, think about it in melee fights when the ASM are trying to go toe-to-toe with the Slugger Boys. Knocking the ASM over passively and then having an on-demand knockback as well. Yeah, it's pretty damn strong. Can help you win those melee fights. I think because Poot has lost one of his scouts, I do like that play from Fufu. Anyway, it's going to be the Razorback versus the truck. The truck right now does have tank busters in it, so we've got that classic truck buster play going on. We'll see if he can manage to snag the Razorback with it. Poot is obviously quite wary. He's seen that truck down by the gen farm, and he's keeping his Razorback well away. His only AV right now is the Stern Guard if they load in Vengeance rounds, and that is a short-range AV that does not do a lot of DPS, so we'll see how effective it is. Actually, no, I'm wrong, there's Melter Bombs as well. I mean, this could be the combo he needs. We see Battlecry go down, that's going to buff the damage of everything here, including the Melter Bomb. She's going to blow up, and now the Stern Guard can shoot the War Truck. But they're going to get disrupted there by the Commando Knob, and now the Slugger Boys can turn around and tie them up. A beautiful shotgun blast will delay that process ever so slightly. But for how long? Where are the tank busters? Are they inside still? I should imagine that they are. Indeed, it appears that they are, and they're going to be moving in for the kill on the Razorback. But the Razorback does have the reinforced armor plating, so 600 HP, nothing to scoff at, as you can see. Not going to kill the Razorback quite that easily. But check out Fufu's economy, man. Poot has been purchasing quite a few upgrades. He's gone for this Stern Guard upgrade. He's got the Melter Bomb, Thunder, and Lightning upgrade on the ASM. What does he have in the Force Commander? Here we go. We've got the Iron Hiller coming out along with the Power Fist. That is a lot of expenditure. And that is why we see quite a difference in the economy of Fufu and Poot right now. If I was Fufu, I think I might consider actually getting a looter. Even if you just keep it with its death gun, I think it'd be nice to control the Force Commander and to also control where the ASM jump. It would prevent the ASM just mindlessly jumping at the War Truck and Melter Bombing it all the time. And I think that could be very helpful for him. Aiming What's That should probably come out onto the Stern Guard right now to stop them Vengeance rounding down the War Truck. Looks like the Pain Boy's going to be intercepting them in melee, but he's going to get yeeted by the scouts, and a little bit of sloppy play there from Fufu. He's going to end up losing his War Truck because he didn't use Aiming What's That on the Stern Guard. No, actually, again, oh my god, this is driving me mad. I can't see this fucker. The Force Commander got into melee with it and killed it with a Power Fist. So there's a lot going on right now. Pain Boy gets taken out by the Stern Guard. They weren't even using the Hellfire rounds. If they swapped to Hellfire, that guy would have died ages ago. And honestly, the Force Commander right now is kind of going crazy. Not a tremendous amount really that Fufu can do right now against this Force Commander. Not a lot of single target DPS for him. I mean, if he had the knife, that would help, but then he would be a lot worse against the ASM. So it's tricky. But overall, a pretty poorly handled engagement there. I don't know why the War Truck was sticking around. I mean, the only AV that was available for Poot was the Stern Guard, so very easy to avoid them. You know, they're very slow. Seeing them walking down here, that War Truck should have just been gone. Whether it drove off this way to try and stay in and reinforce things, or whether it just left down by the bottom and returned to the base. I think either way, that War Truck needed to get out of there. Fufu really committing to tier 2, which, I don't know. He's got the VPs, he currently has the farm. Perhaps he feels like he is not going to be able to defend his farm fully. But I always say the last thing you want to be doing, really, as Orcs, is committing to tier 2. Late tier 2 is the weakest point for the Orc faction in the game. Early tier 1, late tier 2. And he's going to be facing Dreadnoughts, which, yeah, I mean, he can't even kill a Razorback right now, because he's only got one source of AV. Good luck killing the Dreadnought. But perhaps after this Dreadnought comes out, he can get tier 3 and then he can go for the rocket launcher and the commando knob. I think that probably would be a good idea. I don't think he wants to be committing to tier 2 any further than he has now. We'll have to see how the Weird Boy does. The Weird Boy has that Vomit. Nice AoE stun. That might be useful to try and counter this Force Commander, because you can't knock him over now because he's got the Iron Halo. And there's a lot of investment in this Force Commander. Armor of Alacrity coming out now. You see that armor a lot more with the Power Fist. The Power Fist, not only is it the Force Commander's highest DPS weapon, but it's actually really high DPH, which makes it great at killing fleeing units. You can get some really high chunks of damage with every strike that you get on retreat with that thing. Combine it with Alacrity, so you get the sprint and the higher passive speed. You can become pretty decent at chasing down retreating units, but here is the big engagement. The Force Commander is going to be leading the engagement. He's got that Iron Halo up. They're trying to focus fire him. Oh my god, an absolutely brutal combo here. We've got Hellfire rounds doing damage over time. Yeah, we need to see a Call the Boys. It's a good Call the Boys. Basically offsets all of the losses there, and the Force Commander's looking precariously low right now. I think he actually just got knocked over by the passive hits from the shotgun, which is hilarious. I thought that was changed so it doesn't knock over bubble shield units. Apparently not. And Double Sluggers can turn around under Warpath. They've got that extra movement speed. They're going to be tearing the ASM to pieces. They're very low on HP themselves. Will they get the wipe on the ASM though? I don't think they're going to, you know. No, they're not. Now, is there another Assault Cannon Barrage? Presumably not. I mean, he did use it in that engagement. That would be too fast. Oh my god, the Hellfire rounds killing the Sluggers in retreat. I did not expect that. Wow. But the Tank Busters were left alone for a moment. They're going to take out all the gen farm. And honestly, because Poot just pumped 150 power into the Dreadnought, even though we're quite late in the game right now, Poot actually does need that power, so that's going to be slightly detrimental. I mean, Poot also, right now, actually is needing requisition more than he needs power, but that's relevant, because it means that he's not going to be able to afford an easy generator replacement. Scouts did well there though, capping up all the side of this map, putting more of the VP pressure on with the Stern Guard capping the mid, while Fufu techs tier 3. He's going to be losing out on quite a few VPs, so we've got a bit of a ticking time bomb here for Fufu. He needs to make his decision in tier 3 quickly and get back out onto the field, hopefully kill this Dreadnought. I think a looted tank should be pretty damn effective right now. It still remains that the only ranged AV on the field is the Stern Guard, who are obviously immobile and shorter range than tanks. So should be effective. Obviously you've just got to be wary of the Melter Bomb from the ASM. Dreadnought could in theory force melee as well. If you snare it with a Melter Bomb, maybe it can catch the looted tank. Unlikely, but we'll see. Depends on how well Fufu can actually micro the tank, I suppose. And indeed it is going to be a tank that is chosen by Fufu. Now he could double down and get the rocket launcher as well, but that rocket launcher for the commando knob, whilst it is an extremely effective weapon, is actually quite expensive. I believe it's 150-50 on par with the Power Fist, so Fufu not able to afford that yet. He'll obviously be considering the reinforced armor plating for the looted tank as well, or the extra armor, whatever it's called. Gives it the boom shot ability, increases its max HP, wouldn't be a bad idea. There are some AV threats on the field, more HP is always helpful. We'll just have to see how we can play it. I feel like the commander knob now needs to be circling down the bottom here and pressuring this natural VP, because VPs seem to be the threat here for Fufu. So we've got some Eyed the Boys Tank Busters. They're going to go for the kill, can they? Oh, they just got disrupted in time. This is actually a really bad retreat path. You've got Stern Guard in retreat, but the looted tank goes for the pincer attack. Oh god. Oh, they're wiped. Power Fist got him. Yeah, I mean, I like the play there from Fufu, but I think he should have actually engaged with the looted tank first from this direction. Pushed the vehicles over here, and then he has infiltrated tank busters to finish them off. Initiating with the tank busters prior to the looted tank like that kind of just, you know, guaranteed that the busters were going to get wiped, basically. But he wins the engagement, but he lost the tank busters, so how much of a win it really is not clear to me. Honestly though, at this point, given that there still is no long-ranged AV, another looted tank would be beautiful against the composition. But Poot would be able to afford a Lascannon Devastator if he wanted to. Instead, he's going to be going tier 3 himself. I wonder what the choice is going to be. Probably Assault Terminators. Get the snare with the ASM Melter Bomb, and then all of a sudden, with a melee charge, the Assault Terminators can chase down the tank and pulverize it. I don't know how I feel about Flash Kits right now. I appreciate that he wants some ranged DPS, help focus down the Force Commander, but I don't know. I don't like him, to be honest. Force Commander can still just ignore the sluggers and tie them up in melee and bleed them. They don't do AV. You're still fighting 2 vehicles, which you haven't killed yet. I feel like getting rid of these vehicles has to be the priority right now. If they were gotten rid of, I feel like Fufu would be in a pretty great position. So quite funny little situation here. Both players going to be decapping each other's natural. Scouts here onto the natural of Fufu. Fufu's K-Nob, which now does have the rocket launcher. Okay. Well, let's see how it performs, I suppose. We've got blasters. Okay, so this is interesting. The blaster's going to do great against the Marines, but really not going to do much against the Force Commander at all. And I thought that was, like, the bigger threat here. If you want to kill the ASM, Nobs would do better. Aha! And now he's got the rocket launcher, he can deal with that Razorback that was coming to stop him. Very nice. Okay. And scouts were stalling for quite a lot of time there. You've got to respect the play. Look how long they stalled and prevented the recapture here from Fufu. But the VPs are draining very quick for Poot. I think Poot right now is quite happy. He's stalling for Assault Terminators himself. So yeah, you see him backpedal away defensively like this so he doesn't have to engage the tank. And he's just going to try and retake his natural. Let's have a look at his economy. Yeah, plenty of red for him. Absolutely no problem there. We're getting the Assault Terminators and he is getting close in terms of requisition, not there quite yet, but he will soon. A little bit of a lull in the action here. Poot's still stalling. Even when he gets the requisition here, he might not want to immediately engage. Here we go. It's moving into the mid. Oh, and the Commander Nob just retreated as well. That is a big misplay from Fufu. He's going to be missing his Commander Nob in an absolutely vital engagement here. The ASM initiate. They can get their Melter Bomb off. Where is the call-in for the Terminators? There it is. There it is. I see it now. It's behind the looted tank, as to be expected. The looted tank is currently snared, but honestly, that snare should be wearing off relatively soon. Doesn't matter. For the Emperor, Thunderhammers onto the rear arm of that looted tank is absolutely wrecked. I suspect that Fufu didn't notice that call-in, and certainly in game he didn't anticipate this play. And now he still has the Dreadnought to deal with, and his only AV is the Rocket Launcher Commando Nob. Scouts, once again, were putting pressure onto the VP here. They do get pushed back by the Sluggers. However, it doesn't matter. The middle is going to be taken back by Poot, and I think Poot has this one in the bag, because it is not clear to me how a Commander Nob on his own is going to be able to take out a Dreadnought. It's also not clear to me how the hell he's going to kill these Terminators. Now, ironically, Blaster Flash Kits are some of the best sources of DPS against super heavy infantry armor that you have, but yeah, Terminator's just too tanky. And Fufu just has too few units. He doesn't have a front line, so yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. I think Nobs would have been much better than the Flash Kits. Much better. And the Commander Nob is going to be slayed there. I mean, look at this. This is beautiful. A couple of Flash Kits killed as well. Hilarious. Assault Terminators absolutely kicking ass right now. And that is indeed going to be the game. So, what could Fufu have done differently? As I say, losing the tank busters in this engagement here, I commend him for the attempted play. It was terrible execution though, and it basically guaranteed the death of his tank busters. And then it made it worse when the Dreadnought was here and he re-engaged with his K-Nob and had to retreat because the Dreadnought has that thing where its firing burst on the assault cannon is really long. If it starts it, it doesn't matter if you go out of range, if you turn invisible, it will finish shooting you. So the Commander Nob had to retreat. And then Poot took the massive engagement where the AC Termies were there. Not AC Termies, Assault Terminators. If he had the Commander Nob to chip away at the Dreadnought, maybe he'd have had a chance. You know, maybe if the Dreadnought was dead, he could still play this game out, he could pressure the sides, etc. Still unlikely, still probably would lose. This game was lost earlier than that, I would say. But those two players stood out to me as major misplayers. I feel like there was a window in tier 2 where he went for the Weird Boy and the second Slugger, and I feel like strategically he probably could have got away with just going tier 3 there. I can't remember if the Dreadnought was out or not. I feel like the Dreadnought wasn't out yet. I feel like the Dreadnought was purchased in response to that due to the amount of infantry on the field. I'd have to watch it back, but I feel like going tier 3 and getting a tank out there would have been a lot more effective. Vehicles just putting in crazy amounts of work for Poot, and he wasn't even playing the Tech Marine. You just dread to think about how powerful they'd have been with the Tech Marine, but some good Force Commander play. You know, we've seen the Force Commander here with the Alacrity and the Power Fist. Just sped in that engagement. I didn't even notice him, he was moving so fast with the UI blocked, and killed the War Truck. Nice use of Battlecry buffing his Space Marines, and we've seen good global usage at the end with For the Emperor, and knowing to save up for his Assault Terminators as well, knowing that they were the win con that he needed. Anyway, tell me down below, guys, what you thought of that match. What mistakes did you see? What do you think could have been done better by each of the players? Obviously, we're not calling out micro mistakes, because that doesn't help. Obviously, the players know if they don't lose any models, that's going to help them. But that's going to be all for this one. Hope you did enjoy. Torpid signing out.